Hello, welcome. Today is a week 6 check-in, which means we're on day 42? I haven't written down, but I don't know off the top of my head. Something like that. Something like day 42. I'm very comfy cozy right now. I usually do this in the morning or during the day, and I'm showered. I'm going to bed after this. I'm very comfy cozy right now. I usually go into these wanting some kind of plan and some thoughts in mind, usually one specific topic, and then kind of want to go from there. And they all usually are relevant to thoughts or feelings I've been having over the past week before I record. The thoughts that I'm going to share today are relevant to the past week, but I think the route that this episode might be is going to be maybe more of a real time processing and sharing, because I just today kind of came to the conclusions or solutions. I don't know the proper word that I want to use, but I didn't even know where to begin with this week's episode because a lot of the thoughts and feelings I was having were relatable. I wasn't unique in having these feelings, but I didn't want to overshare right out the gate. And I also didn't even know what to say about them because I was still I hate this word. I hate using therapy words because they're so overused, and now I just feel ridiculous anytime I use them. But I guess, for lack of a better term, I was very triggered. Just based on the thoughts that I had been having the past week, plus the stimulus around me that was making me feel this way. And so I didn't really know what to say. That didn't feel like too much. I kind of only really came to a roundabout solution or way of thinking about it that was healthy a couple hours ago when I was on the beach sitting alone. As I do, where I go when I need to think. And I guess I'll start with the past 2 weeks. I've been feeling irritated about who am I if I'm not serving people or a body. In the most simple way of saying it without getting into it, who am I if I'm not those things? And I don't want to be those things. I don't think that those are my only uses in life by any means. But I think there's things around me, whether those they're people or the stimulus or the environments that I am in, not really by choice for some of those things, job related roles that I find myself in, what have you. Who am I if I'm not those things? And I don't want to be those things, but my environment says you are still. And it's very frustrating. It's so unbelievably irritating. Because what do you mean? Why do I think this? And why do I believe this? And why do I know this to be true? But the rest of the world is not on board with that. So either way, I had been irritated about this thing over the past 2 weeks, hence my past emotional support cigarette that I told you guys about. And then some friends were in town this past weekend, and I've known these people for 10-ish years. And I was so different back then. And these people are different too. And that's their own thing. But I feel extremely different than who I was then. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that is part of life. I think that is the purpose of your 20s, is to learn and to grow and to evolve and to try again and screw up and try again and screw up, continually evolve until you find, who it is that you want to be. And that's just life in general. You're consistently changing, but your 20s is your first chance to really live it. Live it and send it and see the consequences of your mistakes without the backfall of mom and dad coming to fix it. And I think that's a beautiful thing, but it's also terrifying. And I know that I've changed a lot. I know that I've learned a lot and I've evolved a lot. Like I said, as we all should throughout our 20s. And so I'm in this place of life where, I'm having these conversations with them, and we said a couple times, it's funny how different we are, how some people that we used to know then are still the same, or what have you. It got me to thinking about old identities or old ways of being that I don't resonate with anymore, which obviously I've just shared already a big part of where I'm at. And, you know, that kind of even sparked this whole 100 days thing was I was realizing, one, that I was different. I wanted different for myself. And then three, even my coping skills like did not fit the bill anymore. They weren't satisfying. They weren't enjoyable. They weren't even really fitting their purpose anymore. I wasn't even coping anymore. I just was like, okay, this thing is just here and it's just a habit at this point, and that's why I do it. I don't need it, but I'm just doing it out of habit. So yeah, I got them out of the way. Now there's almost entirely no distractions. And it's not that I'm unsatisfied with this journey. I've been learning so much about myself, which is beautiful and great, and I'm excited to do. But I'm kind of like, this past week has taught me, and I have been frustrated all day and frustrated the past week, thinking, you know, who am I if I'm not these old things? Again, because there's things around me telling me that I'm still these things. I was thinking today, and I was journaling on the beach. I know I'm not these things. I don't want to be treated like these things anymore, but I can't really control the world. I can't control how people treat me. I can't control, unfortunately, my work environment. I can, in the sense that I can apply for new jobs, which I'm doing, but I also just have to be there. It's not just work, but like everywhere. This feeling of like people wanting things from me, whether that's my body or service or my emotional bearing. And I don't want to do those things anymore. I don't want to take anyone's emotions on. I don't want to teach grown-ass men how to be emotionally regulated. I don't want to be stared at and gawked at behind a bar while I make drinks for money. Like, I don't want those things. I'm sick and tired of it, and I feel like a rat in a cage, so I'm over it. So how do I shift it? I'm kind of trying to make it, what control do I have? What can I do differently? How can I think about things differently? Because for now, things just are what they are. And not only that, but like the world is what it is. The world just is what it is. Okay. People are always going to do things that irritate me. People are always going to irritate me. I guess along with that, I realized that isolating myself is not the answer. Maybe I can control my environment when I'm not around certain scenarios or around certain environments or people. And I love being alone. I'm like currently applying for apartments to live alone for the first time, like entirely alone, no roommates. And my mom goes, "You're going to be a hermit." And I said, "Thank God." I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have my own space and to breathe in my own space. And one of the things, this is relevant. So one of the things that I realized was, one, isolating myself from the world is not going to get rid of these things that irritate me, because the world is what it is. And then two, I wanted living on my own to be an opportunity to see who I am when no one else is setting any expectations on me. Like, even when you have roommates, you're still kind of adjusting to them emotionally, physically, whatever, right? This is my first time to really, who are you when no one else can dictate anything? Are you still this level of clean? Are you, I don't know, anything? When you have that much time alone, which means that much choice in what you're doing when you're alone, what are you going to do with that time? And how are you going to make it useful? How are you going to be intentional? Because I think when what you do with your time, especially when you're alone, is a reflection of like your inner world and what you want. Where you're putting your time matters. It's a reflection of your thoughts, and your thoughts are a reflection of like how you feel about yourself and how you feel about the world. And so what you do with your time alone is important. I do feel like I use a lot of my time alone productively. I could use more rest, if anything. So I'm getting excited to like live alone and whatnot. And I'm kind of hitting this head of like, well, I don't feel like that's enough, because again, I can only isolate so much and only be productive so much until it's no longer productive. It's detrimental. So I'm journaling and I'm writing these things down. I'm kind of angry and I'm trying to think. And I wrote something like, how do we show ourselves that we're not these things? how do we convince ourselves, even more so? Or how do we walk through life and participate in life in a way that shows us that we're not? And I couldn't really think of anything because I was like, well, I already know it, so it's not like I need to convince myself. So then I made a list of, well, what are you if you're not those things? And I started writing down things like, I'm a runner, I'm a dog mom, I really have been enjoying this process. So I wrote down, I'm a podcaster. Like, I started writing things down that I either already actively participate in and know to be true about myself. Actually, all of them are things that I actively participate now in and know to be true about myself, but some of them are things that are new and things that I am kind of trying to implement even more so, whether they're hobbies or qualities of self that I enjoy and am trying to embody more. So I'm writing this list. Again, I know all these things to be true. So then I think my follow-up question was, I'm going to look because I'm actually curious. Okay. I wrote down the list. And then my follow-up question to myself was, how can I see myself as more of those things? And then my instant thought was doing them more. Because if I have all this free time and I have all this time alone, and I really enjoy being alone. It's a problem. It's not a problem, but like it almost makes me not want to invite people into my space. What are you gonna do to come irritate me? What are you gonna do? Can you not? I'd rather you just did it. I wrote that down and my instant thought was do them more. And then I circled back to the idea of, what are you doing with your time? And I actually, this is so funny. So I've hung out with a guy a couple times recently, and he kind of expressed it first. And I was like, damn, I've never met someone that I relate to so much on this level. But he was talking about how much he loves being alone and how time is like he feels is one of his most valuable assets. And he loves being alone so much that even sometimes with his dog, he just is like, I need space from you and I just want to like go do something alone. Again, those are like word for word things and thoughts that I have had, feelings I have had. And so I'm listening to him talk and I was like, I've never related so much. And I found that really intriguing. And then later on like another hangout, I was reading his birth chart. as I do. And he has a Libra stellium. Yeah. So I'm reading his birth chart to filth, and I said something along the lines of, that's probably why you enjoy being alone so much, is because Libras are the scales. Their biggest struggle is maintaining balance. And so if they don't know how to maintain balance, they tend to lean towards one extreme or the other. And so for you, that's probably why it's just easier for you to be alone and to spend time alone, is because then you don't have to make decisions, and then you don't have to worry about people pleasing, and then you don't have to worry about maintaining balance because you have it when you're alone. No one's there to disturb your peace. And I was like, damn, what a mirror. I'm a Libra rising and a Libra Mars, so I have that in me as well. But it was like, as the words were coming out of my mouth, I was like, damn, I got a mirror right in front of me. Just two avoidants sitting right here in front of each other. What a match made in hell. Anyways, I digress. On top of that, I'm in the middle of my Saturn return. I was watching a TikTok once, and this person was talking about how if Saturn had a currency, it would be time. Saturn wants to see what you're doing with your time, and where you put your time and what you do with your time is where it's going to return that right back to you. And so therefore, when you're using your time wisely and using it with intention and on your passions and, authentically, that's where Saturn is going to return all of that back to you and say, good job. Here is the rewards of knowing how to be wise with your time. And wise doesn't have to mean savvy. It's not wise in the sense of, how can I use my time in the most creative form to be the most productive, to make the most money, to get this, that, and the other done. That's not what I think wisdom means here. I think wisdom here is, when I think of wisdom, obviously, I think most people think of an older, wiser person. I think that with wisdom also comes peace. But yeah, I just feel like peace and wisdom kind of coincide. If time is our most valuable asset and we're using it wisely, then I think we're creating peace in our life. And that's part of the reason I like being alone so much, is because I have learned how to create my own peace and stability within myself. I notice moments when I start to feel insecure, or moments when I start to fall back into kind of older patterns or ways of being that I don't love, and old identities, is when I'm with other people. And that's not me blaming other people, but I think that's a commentary in who and how I think I'm supposed to be for others. I'm not blaming anyone else. I'm blaming myself and my own patterns and expectations of self for whatever reason. Whether that's, I think it'll make people like me, it'll make a boy want to stay, someone might find me valuable. Like, I don't know. I'm guessing those are it, but I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm really doing some authentic, genuine processing with you guys here. Something about being alone, though, is I will say, as much as I love it, I am someone who craves connection, and I find other people inspiring, and I enjoy community. I enjoy supporting my friends and laughing together, and I really enjoy simple moments. I don't need grand gestures, and I don't need these big elaborate vacations and girls trips and going out to bars and stuff like that. I love, like, my favorite moments. I have this friend back in Utah and some of my favorite moments with her are just talking to her while she cleans her kitchen and like cooks dinner for her fiance. And some of my favorite moments with my sisters when I was younger is the same thing. I've just worked really hard to enjoy the peace that I have when I'm alone, because I used to exert all my energy and all of my time into wanting to be around other people because I didn't feel comfortable alone and I didn't like being alone. So I've worked really hard to find this peace here and maintain it. So I do feel a little nervous about letting other people into it. I guess the purpose in what I'm sharing now is I realized, okay, I think I'm past the shedding phase of old identities. I've done the shedding and I no longer feel them and feel their hold on me or feel their relevance to my life anymore. I think what I'm supposed to be doing now is really creating the foundations and building the new identity, showing up as this new identity in my daily habits or in my hobbies or with what I'm doing with my time. And so spending more time doing art and more time reading books that help me learn, because I'm a curious person and I love to learn. And reading has been a hobby that I've been wanting to get back into. I've just struggled with. I've been reading Alan Watts recently and I really have enjoyed that. And when I was in college, I loved learning. I love learning about anything from microbiology to neurobiology to linguistics to deaf culture to sociology. I just love learning, especially about people. And so maybe I'll start buying more books that involve learning base. I can dedicate more time to art. I actually have been doing that recently, more so in the purpose of inner child work and letting her be free and roam and making her feel like I'm giving time to her as well, more time to this. And I actually really enjoy doing this. Even if like no one watches, that's fine. But I'm still like I've been enjoying the editing process. I've been enjoying thinking about what I want to talk about and kind of planning. I don't know. I've really enjoyed this a lot. And I can picture myself as I want to dedicate more time into things that are important to me or identities that I want to have. I could picture myself spending a lot more time here with this and getting really excited about it. I think that where you put your time is really important. And I do believe that time is our most valuable asset. I do believe that my time is important because I am a busy person. But I also know that for the right people and for the right things, I'm willing to find time. I'm willing to make the time. With running, because I wrote down I'm a runner, I decided that after I get my move over with, I'm gonna plan my next one. I'm gonna start doing some research on the next ones and like pick where I want to go, because I want to make it a destination thing too, so I can do like some solo traveling and go on a road trip by myself. Maybe I'm thinking New England area, so maybe I'll find one a little north of me, which I'm really excited about. And again, I love running. I love the training process. I love how my body feels when I'm running consistently. I love how I feel emotionally when I'm running consistently. I could spend more time in my spiritual practice. I don't know. There's just so many things that I do love doing alone that I think would be more valuable with my time. And why not? They make me feel good. I enjoy them. They're parts of me. So why not spend more time doing them? I guess I'm sharing these as examples. So maybe like if you have a thought too that you're like, what's an identity or what's a thing about me I could find more time for, or I could spend more time doing, these are things about me. Maybe there's ones about you that you can find. With that, I will say, I know it's always at first jarring to think of, well, where's the time? Where's the time? Where's the time? I don't have kids. I don't have a significant other. I am very busy, but for the most part, like if I'm not dedicated to something because it's work or my dog or what have you, I get to choose what I do with my time. So I am blessed in that regard. But I will say, I do believe that we have the ability to find the time. Maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I'm just saying, I've found myself scrolling on TikTok and Instagram a lot less the past however long I've been doing this. What did I say? 43 days. I've found myself scrolling on TikTok a lot less and Instagram a lot less. I still do it a lot. I won't lie. I'm a TikTok fiend, but a lot less. And then I used to be a really, really big like movie watcher. I couldn't tell you like the last time I actually sat and like watched a series or a movie all the way through. I do think that there's ways that we can find the time. It's hard and I get that, but I'm just saying, even 5, 10, 15 minutes. I don't know if this was helpful to anyone. Maybe you're in an in-between. Maybe you're trying to let go of old ways of thinking about yourself or old habits or old identities, and you don't know where to start. They always say, like, especially with manifesting, it's like walk and talk or embody that version of self. Whatever that person would walk like or talk like or dress like, or what would they do with their time? Start doing it. Start embodying it. I've already been doing some of those things, right? But I think with identities and ways of thinking about myself, I just don't feel those things anymore. I don't participate in them anymore. And so the shedding factor of like embodying those things, I don't feel relevant to anymore and I don't touch on anymore. So now I'm in the phase of no longer shedding and no longer really in an in-between, but more getting comfortable in my new shoes. How am I going to style my new shoes? How often can I wear these new shoes? You know what I'm saying? And I'm really excited about it. Now that I've kind of come to terms with it, instead of being angry, and I've found something productive to do with these feelings, I'm excited about it. So I'll update you guys on that, because obviously, like I said, this is my real-time processing, which means the idea has been there. The plan is now discussed. Now I just need to take the steps. There you go. What else? Fitness check. Okay, with that, while we're here, honestly, running is it for me. I think that running is where I need to be, not in the weight room. And that's fine. Like, I'm going to go every once in a while, because even if you're a runner, you still need to like strengthen your ligaments. I still want a toned back and arms. So I'm going to find myself there every once in a while. But for the most part, running, I think, is the best thing for my mental health and just a workout that I enjoy the most. Food, same thing. Nothing crazy. Don't really have an update there. Some wins this week. I will say, I think finding someone who mirrors me a little bit so I can see myself and reflect on my own self is kind of a win. It's like a weird call out, but I've never had such a in real time call out to myself. I've never so instantly seen the reflection looking back at me. So that's kind of a win, I personally think, to recognize it so quickly. Other wins: I spent a lot of time at the beach the past week with Jude. Any free moment I've had, I've been on a run with Jude or at the beach with Jude. I guess another win is just feeling really excited to be alive, feeling really excited about life this week. That might sound contradictory to what I said earlier, but it is true. When I can wake up and the first things that I'm thinking about is just how I'm excited for another day, I'm taking those as wins. I used to have to fight tooth and nail to get out of bed. And now I get to wake up and instantly think to myself how excited I am to be alive. That's awesome. It's really exciting. Yeah, I got to see friends that I haven't seen in years, and I've known them for a very long time. So that was nice and really nostalgic. I enjoyed that. That's about it. That's all I've really got. Good things ahead. I'm happy about the past week. I'm excited to see myself start implementing my own words, owning up to them. I'm excited for all the changes that are supposed to come soon in my life the next month and go from there. Hopefully, like I said, my real time processing was beneficial in some form. I do want to say one thing, and that is that I think it's not only should you constantly be striving for some form of growth, that doesn't mean tearing yourself apart and constantly reinventing yourself and thinking, I'm a piece of shit, I'm never going to be good enough. No, that is not the point at all. But what I mean by I think you should constantly be striving for change or to be better is that I do think we can always find ways to be kinder, or we can always find a new hobby, or we can always find new things to learn. We can always push our limits physically. How much more can I lift? How much farther can I run? It's important to always be striving for growth in a mental, physical, spiritual sense, I personally believe. And I like to find ways to try and have a goal in all three at once instead of 10 physical goals and 10 mental goals, like having one in each. So I do think it's important for us to constantly be growing in those ways. With that, it's okay to look back at past versions of yourself and forgive yourself for for the things that you didn't know that you know now. Forgive yourself for the things that you didn't know then that you know now, and though that lack of knowledge caused you to maybe behave or do certain things that you would no longer do now, I think it's okay to outgrow relationships, work environments, social circles. I think that's perfectly okay. And that just shows, like I said, growth in you wanting to better yourself. Doesn't mean you can't have friends that last years and years. I have just told you I saw people that I met 10 years ago. A lot of my close friends are people that I've known for years and years. But I maybe had friend groups with those people, and I maybe only identify with one of them now out of the 5 that I had at the time, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's okay to outgrow social circles, people, identities, what have you. Put on the new shoes, try them on, get comfortable in them, see how you like to style them, and see how you like to just walk in them. How do they feel? It's totally okay. And anyone who has a problem with that has a problem because the old identity that you no longer jive with or want to be served a purpose for them. So if they're angry at you for changing and they're angry at you for wanting more, they're upset because you wearing those shoes served a purpose for them. Remember that. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to have you. Grateful you're here. Grateful you're listening. And yeah, see you next week.